What's going on, Geek Pit? Welcome to another episode of Geek's Top 10. I'm your host, The Metal Geek, and today's episode is sponsored by horror movies. We all love horror movies. Horror movies are awesome. We love to be scared. There's just something in the air when you just see a horror movie, and you just tell the audience, "Don't go in there, don't go in there." Or sometimes you're trying to look under the bed, and you see something, and you're like, "No, don't look under there," or look in a cabinet or a chest or something, whatever it is. You just don't want the audience to go in there, and you're just like, "Don't go in there, don't open the door, don't do that." It's just like that movie. So anyway, but yeah, top 10. We did a little bit of a podcast last year on horror movies but this time we're going to be doing Geek's Top 10 horror haunted houses we're looking forward to this year at Halloween Horror Nights Universal. So that's our next episode, our next topic right now. Top 10 Halloween Horror Night houses that we think will happen this year. So let's get into our little predictions right now for top 10 haunted houses at Halloween Horror Nights. My number 10, they did a little bit of a tease, like a little bit of an interactive land a couple of years ago when the movie came out at Universal Studios Hollywood. And I'm talking about Jupiter, Jupiter from the movie Nope. He was played by the guy who played Glenn on The Walking Dead. Yeah. So anyway, my number 10 coming in at my 10. I think we're definitely gonna get a Nope house this year. I think did Jordan Peele have a haunted house at Halloween Horror Night? I think there was I believe there was an Us house. But I'm not mistaken on it. But I know Nope had like something to do at Universal Hollywood when the movie Nope came out. So they had like a Jupiter land. So I think this is right up the tram, the Universal Studios tram. So correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think I don't know if it's likely or if it's not likely, but I think we may get a Nope house. So just let me know what you guys think in the comments below. So yeah, Nope is coming in at my number 10. Now in my number 9, this is also a not likely house, but it could be a possibility that we get this house. And why I think we might get this house is because it was based on a house. A couple of years ago we had a house that like this, and then they ripped off the movie. I'm like, really? This was a house at Halloween Horror Night. I believe it was. Oh man, what was it? It was like the guy signed a contract, and he wanted to play great music, and I think we might actually now get the house this year. I believe. Darkest Deal. That was the name of the house, by the way. Darkest Deal was the house that we had at Halloween Horror Night, and it's actually, I believe, quote me if I'm wrong, but it kind of sounds a little similar to the movie Sinners, which is coming in at my number 9 on my list right now. So the Darkest Deal, that was one of my actually favorite houses from Halloween Horror Nights. This guy was such a terrible musician. He wanted to play music so bad, and he really, really wanted. So he'd do anything. So what he'd end up doing in the house, he actually ended up selling his soul. So, and then he started playing amazing music. So it's similar, I would say, to the movie Sinners. So I don't know if we're actually going to get a house this year, but yeah, it's the same way how Sammy was able to play great music to inspire Remy because he wanted to see his ancestors. So, but yeah, so that would be coming in at my number 9 on my list, would be actually I believe we would have a Sinner's House coming in at my number 9. Now here's another one that's quite not likely, but it would make a really cool house. It was very popular last year. They were great, different little segments. They had a scare zone. They had a stage show. This house was this scare zone was really cool last year. The set piece and the scare zone design were absolutely incredible, and it was the costumes for this house scare zone were great. So I think we may actually get a house this year. And I'm talking about the crooked lady on the crooked cat lady on Lane. I hope I'm pronouncing that name. I'm in. I screwed up the name so bad, but yeah, I think we're gonna get a cat lady house this year coming in at my number 8 because like the set design, how they had this house last year and how everything was just so put together. And this was just a huge set piece that they used last year for the crooked cat lady on Crooked Lane house, and that was such a great house, and I really really enjoyed that scare zone. So I think it does deserve a house coming in at my number 8 right now. And number 7, I do not believe that we got a house out of this. I hopefully we do end up getting one. Maybe fingers crossed that. I mean, I believe it is 30 years of this movie, or 31. So I'm hoping that we get a house to represent. And I'm talking about the movie Scream, which we had 30 years of. So there's 30 years of different scenes that they could use in this house. I mean, there's just so many, especially the iconic first movie. There were just so many iconic moments in that first movie. And this was the movie that actually started the teen slasher drama. So that would be a number. I believe that'd be number 7 coming in at my house. Would be a Scream house. I think that would be a great house. So, but can we imagine what kind of scenes we could get? We could have Ghostface in different variations from different eras of Ghostface, and we haven't seen, because the mask just evolved over times in so many different ways. So, but yeah, I think a Ghostface house would be actually pretty cool to see, and that would be coming in at my number 7 right now on my list is Scream. And it doesn't have to be a particular Scream. It could be all of them. Just a 30-year anniversary of all the Scream movies rolled into one. So, all right, this was a real popular house last year, and I believe that they're definitely going to do it again because last year the fans wanted it for so long, and they kept asking, "When's this house going to happen? When's this house going to happen?" Finally, last year they actually pulled it off, and they announced it last year. And this must have been. I wouldn't say this was the greatest house last year, but this house last year, the way they designed this house last year with the different animatronics and the different scare actors, and there were just so many different set pieces and puppets, and I think that they're just silly if they don't, or stupid if they don't pull it off for a second year in a row. And I'm talking about Five Nights at Freddy's 2 would be my number 6 on my list, because they could do so much more in the second Five Nights at Freddy's, because we did not get the marionette in Five Nights at Freddy's 1. So there is just so many different things that they could incorporate in this house, and different scares, like Abby popping behind the door, and so many different things that we saw from Five Nights at Freddy's 2, we could have the marionette pop out somewhere, and just the different different variations that we could have. So, yeah, coming in at number 6 on my list is actually the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 right now. So, and this movie just absolutely got picked up by Universal and Blumhouse, and I think this is another one that's been 30 years already, 25, I believe. But anyway, so I'm talking about on my number 5 on my list. I should have done the Five Nights at Freddy's, but I believe that this is more than likely right now that we're going to get a Saw house. I believe because Universal just picked up the rights to Saw, and so did Blumhouse. So I think we're definitely going to get a Saw house coming in at number 5 on my list. I believe we're going to get a Saw house. Coming in at number 4 on my list right now, they got a brand new movie coming out this year. What a way to promote it. I believe. I mean, we did get the Exorcist house the same year that Believer came out. So, and there were nobody at Universal saw the movie. So, I mean, I believe that we could absolutely get we get an Insidious house because they got another movie coming out this August. I believe it's July, August, but from the scenes that we saw from that trailer, those scenes were so scary. It reminded me of the first Insidious movie and how scary it was. And I just hope they don't put all the best parts in this and they're just hiding stuff right now, because coming in at my number 4 on my list, and this, by the way, every time this is in Universal, this is the scariest house in all of Universal, and they do an amazing job with this house every single time, and it'd be a shame if they don't bring it back this year when they got another movie coming out. So I'm talking about Insidious, for the next Insidious movie. So this movie is called Into the Further, I believe, and this movie is going to be really creepy and really scary. So coming in at number 4 on my list, I believe they're going to do another Insidious house. Number 3 on my list right now. This band has just been putting out horror song after horror song after horror movie after horror movie. So I do believe that they may finally secure the rights to this band to do a house at Halloween Horror Night. It would be, I mean, if it's not this year, it may be next year, because they're definitely going to get a house eventually. Because they do so much great horror. Their music videos are almost like mini horror movies, and they do such a great job with makeup and special effects and practical effects that it would be just a shame if they never actually got a haunted house, because this band is just awesome. And I'm talking about at my number 3, I believe that they're finally gonna do it this year. I think we're gonna Ice Nine Kills house coming in at number 3. So now, number 2 on my list right now is it's a horror movie that scared generations. From the 1990s to 2000s to even this decade right here. I think like between like Bill Skarsgård and Tim Curry, two people who have put on this character and they scared generations for years and decades. Um, and I believe that we're finally going to get a house this year. Um, After it's been teased for so many years that, and not only that, it it's also back because now they got a series on HBO called Welcome to Derry. So coming in at my number 2 on my list right now, I believe that we're finally going to get an It Welcome to Derry house. Um, on top of that, because I think this would be like similar to how Terrifier was last year. The fans just going absolutely crazy between the two houses that I'm about to announce that I think are going to be houses that could be a definite. Because like the Terrifier house, when I went, it was started at around I think 45 to 60 minutes. But when I was physically online, the house was actually about like 2 hours, and I waited 2 hours online for the Terrifier house at Halloween Horror Nights, and that's another thing that I think they need a little bit more IPs at Halloween Horror Night, just because of how crazy and how crowded it gets. Because for the past couple of years, when I went, some of the houses the lines weren't as bad. Maybe like the original houses were 30 to 40 minutes, but the IP houses were always the longest. And I feel that this year there's just so many IPs now that they need to expand a little bit more on the IPs because the other houses just take so long to get into. So yeah, number 2 on my list right now is going to be Welcome to Derry, and I think we're finally going to get that house this year. Now, for my number 1 house at Halloween Horror Night, which I think we're going to get this year, I do believe they've been doing it every single season. This is just like an IP like The Walking Dead. They've been doing it every single season. And they just wrapped up the season finale. They got another show coming out on Netflix, or excuse me, it's already out already on Netflix right now. But so for my number 1 on my list, I believe that we're gonna get this house for the final season, and I mean, I believe we're gonna get it. So whether you hated it or you loved this house, or you loved this IP for its ending, I believe that we're still going to get it because the ending I thought was awesome. Everyone else hated it because everyone else was everyone else, but um, I felt that this one was great. So coming in at my number 1 right now, I believe we're going to get Stranger Things the final season, the house, and how awesome would that be if we got that big battle scene with Vecna, and Vecna popping out. When I went to this house a couple of years ago, yeah, that house was awesome when 11 just pops out of nowhere, and she goes, "Stay away!" like out of nowhere. So I believe that we're gonna get Stranger Things the final season, and that's coming in at my number 1. That I strongly believe that we're gonna get that house this year at Halloween Horror Night 2026. So, anyway, that's my list on Halloween Horror Nights on what I think we're going to get in 2026. Did you love my list? Did you hate my list? Let me know in the comments below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What houses do you think we're going to get at Halloween Horror Nights 2026? I want to hear your comments. I want to hear what you guys think. So, anyway, this is the Metal Geek, and we will see you guys in the next one for the next Geeks Top 10.